Hi everybody, I have an exciting announcement to make. We are taking orders for the Griffiths cookbook again. So if you didn't order your cookbook last year, you have a chance to do it this year, and they will be delivered by the fall. So I've left a link in the description below where you can order a copy of the Griffiths cookbook. I want to show you my copies of the Griffiths cookbook. I have 2 copies of the Griffiths cookbook, and I'll tell you why. This copy is the one that I use, and I had the children sign it, and I use it all the time. And this copy is one that the children signed, but they also wrote little messages in them that were really special and sweet. And I don't want to get this one all messed up, and so I don't use this one to cook with. And there's also a sweet little letter in it from our photographer that I like to keep just right inside the pages. It was just a heartfelt letter that she had written. Her name is Shanda. So after the cookbooks were completed and most of them had been delivered, the family got around the kitchen table and we passed our books around for each other to sign. And the kids all signed my book, except it didn't get to Landon. Somehow it got around the whole table and everybody signed it and wrote sweet little messages in it, but Landon didn't get to write in mine. So Landon, remind me the next time you come here to sign my book, because I've got to have your signature in my book. So the book started out as Ellie's idea, that she wanted something that our family could do together, to work together and make memories, and that we all thought that would be a great idea, but everybody was busy and it didn't happen. And a couple of years went by after she had suggested this, and Bonnie had a feeling that, you know, if we're going to do this cookbook, we better get it done, or I'm afraid it's not going to get done, she thought. And so she asked Ellie, would it be all right if I spearheaded this project? And Ellie says, yes, go for it. And so basically we all made Bonnie our boss. I don't know if she knows that or not, but we decided that Bonnie was going to be our boss and she was going to spearhead this project, and she's done a wonderful job with it. And of course, Jared did a lot of work in getting the book ready for the publisher, so we couldn't have done it without him. And everybody had a role to play in putting this book together. So one of the first photo shoots that we did was when we did the tomatoes. Can you see that? We were just going to line them up on the cabinet and take a picture of them, right? Put in the cookbook. And you know, that's what happens when lots of people get together in a family, is they start bouncing ideas off of each other, and pretty soon we all picked up the bottles and we ran outside and we put them down in front of the tomato plants that were in our yard. Oh my goodness. Well, we didn't even plan on this picture going in the cookbook. It's just one that the photographer randomly took of us carrying our tomatoes and peaches from one photo shoot location to another. So that was a fun memory that we made. What was some of your favorite experiences when we were doing the cookbook?
Oh.
Like, I've talked to him a little bit, but
Okay,
what are some of your favorite?
Well, I hope I'm not repeating any of them, but you know, I think some of the funnest things was when we were working together, trying to come up with how we wanted to take the pictures. Like,
Yep.
You know, the tomatoes, it started off with, here's 6 jars on the cabinet, fresh out of the pressure cooker. And not the pressure cooker, but out of the hot water bath. And here, take a picture of that. And you know, that was just so boring. I mean, that's the way it was. I mean, that's reality. But when we started putting our minds together and coming up with some better way to make the picture more interesting, you know, everybody had their own idea, and so that was fun. You know, with all the pictures, I'm trying to find the grape juice, because you know, and doing the grape juice, you know, that was fun, getting, you know, a bunch of the grapes off of the grapevines, and then this chicken But the handkerchief bandana around the chicken, that was my idea.
Yeah, you
That
did
was
it
all
good.
me.
Well, and Bo built
But-
the shed.
Yeah, and Bo, Bo and Joel and Landon and myself, I mean, I think all of us pitched in, a
At
few
one
hours
point,
in
yeah.
helping Joel, where Bo put his shed together, but it was his brainchild. He had that designed up pretty good. But yeah, I think staging the food, that was a lot of fun. I always heard, I managed a Pizza Hut restaurant, by the way, and all the food that was presented for picture taking and stuff never took place in my store, but in some of our meetings that we had with the managers and mid-level management, they would tell us how they were so expensive to put together those pictures and those photo shoots, because it was all fake pizza. It was plastic and just it wasn't real. And so I was really nervous on what our pictures were going to look like. Shanda did just magical with those pictures, because they turned out looking just like what the food was inside.
Yeah, it was real food, and a lot of
Yeah.
times in cookbooks it's not even
Yeah.
real food.
Yeah, it's
Got a lot of coloring or whatever
Yeah.
in it, and ours is real
Yeah.
food.
Yeah, so she did a great job in taking pictures. That was something new for her, and it was obviously something new for us putting together a cookbook. But it was just a lot of fun staging the food and for the close-up pictures and stuff. I wish you would give me a heads up.
So Chad's embarrassed over here because he says every time I put the camera in front of him, he's wearing the same old 20-year-old, maybe not 20, but close, shirt that he got at some camp, but it's because he works in it, and so when I come outside and take his picture, he's in this cruddy old shirt, so he's embarrassed.
Well, not too bad, but it's like, man, why didn't you tell me? I could have changed my shirt. I've been out changing the oil on my motorcycle. I wait for the airplane to pass.
Well, and I've been trying to film, and every time I start talking, the airplanes go over my head, so we're just going to put this together, and you're just going to get what you get. You get what you get, and you don't throw a fit.
Yep.
So the other goal was to preserve the recipes in the book that have been passed down from one generation to another. I thought it would be kind of fun to ask you what some of your favorite recipes have been in our cookbook.
Well, right off the top, the meatloaf has been one of my favorites, because that one that my mom made a lot growing up, and it's one that I hadn't had for a long time, and then Bonnie got a hold of one of my sisters and got it, made it for Father's Day, I think. But it was nice. It's nice to have that back and being used. I don't know, there's just so many good ones. The Sunday roast is one of my favorites. That was a staple with the kids growing up. And the grape juice obviously is one of my favorites, because that's one that we've done with the kids from the time they were just little. We've made grape juice and then bottling peaches, because it was a family affair, doing the peaches and tomatoes, bottling. Again, something that my parents taught me how to do as a kid growing up, and then our kids have all done that together. Oh, and the Dutch ovens. I mean, that's again something that I learned as a scoutmaster, how to use a Dutch oven, how to clean it, how to cook with it, and really, I'm a lot better now than I was back then. So sorry for all the scouts that I learned on, eating some of those horrible dinners, but Dutch ovens.
I have to laugh because there is one recipe in the book that I have not made, and it is my grandma's raisin-filled cookie recipe. It had to go in the book. It just had to, but I never got around to making it. And there's a funny story in the book about my grandma's recipe, because my mom swore me to secrecy when she gave me that recipe. And this was just before my mom had passed away. And I'm honest, I wouldn't tell anybody, but that was well over 20 years ago. And nobody is making that, because a lot of the family doesn't even have the recipe. So I felt like Mom would be okay with me sharing that recipe, especially after so many years had gone by and so many people had just not known about it. So I was raised in Idaho on a potato farm, a huge potato farm. And whenever we needed potatoes, we would walk out to the cellar and we would hand pick the biggest, most beautiful potatoes from off the front of the pile, and we'd take them into the house to fix them for dinner. So when we were doing this cookbook, I wanted to be able to capture that feeling of all of those potatoes. And I don't have a potato cellar, and we don't even have gunny sacks anymore. Potatoes come in paper sacks or in plastic bags. And Ruby says, Mom, just go get you some burlap and make you a potato sack. And so the night before we did these pictures, the night before Shanda came over to the photographer came over to do these pictures, I made this gunny sack and we put potatoes in it and took it out on our back porch. And the feeling that we had when we were taking this picture was just exactly what I wanted to be able to capture. And I'll just read to you what I wrote, because it's kind of special to me, and I want my children, my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren to remember this, and that it was from me. I said, I've always found the saying, you can take the girl out of the country, but you can't take the country out of the girl, to be extremely true in my life. I will forever be grateful for the opportunity of growing up on a family farm, for parents who taught their children how to work and instilled in us the love of God, family, and country. I believe, or at least I hope, there is a little bit of country in all of us, that there will always be a trace of farmer's blood found flowing through our veins, that we will always remember and appreciate where we come from and the sacrifices of those who went before us, and see the need to grow our roots deep for those who will come after. We must never forget to pray and give thanks to God for His bounteous blessings, for the farmers, their crops, the weather,